Good evening. Good evening. It's been a minute. It's been a little bit. So, had a good talk with my buddy, and we really gonna get this thing back on track. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna do a podcast. I haven't done a podcast tonight, and just to me and Mr. Lampley get this rhythm going back to what we were doing. What we were doing earlier before. So tonight I'm talking about pretty much forgiveness. So my mother's birthday was Monday, the 20th. So this week has been mentally challenging. So been a little quiet, you know, just been, just thinking and reflecting on, just her. And she's the reason why I'm doing this podcast right now, today, on this particular subject. Because I'm in the same boat as everybody else, still trying to figure everything out, trying to understand this place where sometimes I'm like disgusted with it, talking about the world itself, pretty much. Just pretty much talking about forgiveness right now. So she had broke down. What's going on with this thing? Hold on, guys. I'm trying to find this thing, what I'm looking for right now. So she had this way of making me think about my attitude, my personality, things that I would say out my mouth. We would have conversations of why. Why do you think like this? And do you feel as if you have the reason to have this attitude about that? So I remember just really struggling with just forgiveness, man. Just struggling. In my 20s and 30s, I had the attitude if someone did this, I wanted them to feel the same exact pain that Dave inflicted on me. I wanted to give them back that and then some. But she broke down forgiveness for me, and the way she broke it down, I felt like a 2-year-old child getting scolded, a 3-year-old child, 5-year-old child just getting scolded. And the way she broke it down, it made me feel, it darn near made me feel worse to have the mindset to think that I was justified in feeling how I was feeling. And I'm gonna read a little bit of what I wrote about what she had said. She said, imagine not having true forgiveness. She was pretty much talking about, imagine not having true forgiveness from God, big man upstairs, where it truly matters, which that is the forgiveness that truly matters. My mother always taught me, how can you forgive, then act weird or say, I don't F with you no more? Can you imagine God having that same attitude with not blessing you or showing you mercy no more? Shawn, are you that perfect to have the audacity when you're perfectly flawed? It taught me a valuable lesson in mercy and true forgiveness. And my mother had this thing. She said, true forgiveness is forgiving a person and never bringing up the matter again. That's true forgiveness. You're not treating people different. That's true forgiveness. You're not throwing it up in their face in a heated argument. That's true forgiveness. You're not acting funny or moving funny style with them. That's true forgiveness. She said, but imagine if God had that same attitude toward you. You wouldn't have a hope in the world, Shawn. Not one. You wouldn't have a glimmer of hope in the world. And she said, Shawn, you're going to have ignorant people. that say, well, I'm not God, or I'm not this and I'm not that. But those are the same people when they get in a situation, because Shawn, we all are going to get in situations. We're all going to get into circumstances. We're all going to say something wrong, do something wrong, treat somebody wrong, hurt somebody's feelings, do something. But he still forgives you. Not that you deserve it, not that you're entitled to it, not that you are nobody special, but he still forgives you, and he never treats you differently. Not one time. He still gives you things and bless you with things, and you are 100% undeserving of it. Imagine if he had that same attitude that we have with each other. Imagine that, though. I want you to sit and I want you to think. I remember we talked for about 3 hours on this subject, forgiveness, because I was struggling. Now, there's one thing I still struggle with. I still have a problem with that loyalty thing. So I go back, I struggle with that very, very hard, very hard. So I'm not there yet. So I'm still a work in progress, just like everybody else. But just imagine if you had no outlet, you had no source. But then you got to ask yourself the question: Is your forgiveness true? Is it real? Is it genuine? Is it authentic? Only you can answer that question. You know, how do we act when people disappoint us, or people's let us down, or people hurt us, or betray us, whatever we want to call it? How do we truly act after everything has transpired? How do we honestly act after the situation has actually transpired? Do we move funny? Do we act funny? Do we put distance? We all know the answers to these questions, and we all know how we do. But imagine desperately needing that forgiveness, and it's not warranted. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for your life? Now, people like to debate and go back and forth and things of that nature. I done got into this and forgot to let you know what this is. This is a no judgment zone with yours truly, Shawn Taylor. It's discussing topics with no judgments, discussing topics with no judgments. So as I pondered this all week, and I just had a conversation with one of my clients, and I was letting them know the breakdown of what my mom, how she broke that down. She was like, that is very good. Her perspective on that thing, and I would just look at her. I was like, I can't forgive like you forgive. You know, I was just being honest. I said, Mom, I'm not there yet. I don't know how to forgive people after they've done me wrong. She said, okay, I get it. She said, but do you think you got the right to judge anybody, Shawn? She said, let's rewind this. Let's rewind this movie a bit. Think about all the stuff that you have done in your short young life. You're not even 35 yet. You 30, but you're not even 35 yet. Think about everything that you have done. But I want you to ponder every wrong thing that you've done. Then tell me you have the right to judge anybody. Then tell me you have the right to not forgive anybody. Then tell me you have the right to not forgive somebody, or to fake. She called it fake forgiveness. That fake forgiveness where you forgive them, but then you act funny towards them. Think about your life and think about the things you've done. Think about the things you've done that only you yourself knows about. Think about the things you've done that you got caught. Think about the things you've done that you didn't get caught. Think about the people that you mentally hurt. Think about the people that you physically hurt. Think about the things you've done, Shawn, where I've seen you drink yourself to sleep because you don't have no peace. Now think about those things. Think about the things you self-medicate sometimes just because you want to forget the wrong that you've done. Shawn, we all have those things, those demons, those things that we like, man, I wish I could have done something different. No matter how you try to suppress it, it pops up in your mind here and there. And my mom always told me, she said, Shawn, you can move to any country you want to, any state you want to. You can go to any continent you want to do, any continent you want to go to. She said, but let me tell you, there's one thing that you can't escape. There's one place you will never be able to escape, hide from, get away from, deflect, evade, just totally become a recluse from. You can never escape your mind. And everything that we've ever done wrong in this lifetime is embedded in our mind. You can't escape that mind, Shawn. No matter where you go, no matter how you try to reinvent yourself, no matter you can change your clothes every day, suits, whatever, cars, and no matter what you do, you will never, ever be able to escape your mind. And she had a smirk on her face as she said that. And she said, you want to know why I'm smiling? I'm smiling because when I look at people and they're unforgiving, I'm smiling because they are truly lost. Unforgiving people are the truly people who will never have peace. Because if you've lived your life perfect, Shawn, then you have the right to be unforgiving. If you've never done anything wrong, you have a right to be unforgiving. If you've been perfect, but none of us have. And she said, you got to be very careful in being a true forgiving person or a fake forgiving person. You know, she had a way of saying things that just kind of made me feel dumb to even have to even thought process to feel or think the way I was feeling and thinking at that time. But these are things that I think about. So whether it's her birthday or it's Christmas or it's her anniversary she died or when we buried her, Mother's Day, I think about the things, the amazing things that she taught. The things that are priceless. The things that money can't even buy. And that's that knowledge of life. And I tell people all the time, if I would have listened just to a portion of what she had told me, there are a million things in my life I wouldn't even have experienced or even went through. There's pain I probably wouldn't experience. There's divorces I probably have never would have occurred. There's people that I knew I shouldn't have got involved with. I would have never got involved with if I would have truly have listened. But I didn't. So the life lessons, as I thought about her on her birthday, that forgiving thing just kept popping up. Boom, boom, boom. It just kept popping up. And she said, just think about some of the things that you want. Some things that your heart just desires. How you going to get that when you don't truly forgive your brother and your sister that you see here? And she said, Shawn, she said the irony behind not being forgiving, that you literally have the nerve to ask that man to forgive you. She said, people are so funny till it's comical. How you are unforgiving, but then you want him to forgive you and give you mercy and grace. She said, Shawn, that's not how that dynamic works. That's not how that dynamic works. She said, forgive quickly and apologize even quicker. Forgive quick, but apologize even quickly, more quickly. She said, Shawn, there are people who live this life and don't even apologize. And how does that dynamic work? She said, Shawn, here's the thing. People are so clueless on just life and how to do things in their life that they really realize, she said, Shawn, people mind screw themselves so much that they really think that they are standing on right. And they're actually loud and wrong every single day. They literally think they're standing on right. And she said, here's the sad part. There's no one around them that's even breaking them down. How many people around them, Shawn, are having this conversation about forgiveness? How many family members and their families having this conversation that we're having about forgiveness? They are endorsing and signing off and enabling that nonsense of being unforgiven and saying it's okay. She said, baby, that's a sad way to live. And all you're doing is sabotaging your own blessings. You're sabotaging yourself. She said, that's why it's so important, Shawn, to apologize quick and to forgive quick. But truly do it. Truly do it. Because when you don't truly forgive, you don't truly give a person a chance for redemption, and you don't truly give that person a second chance. You really do not. She said, Shawn, the sad part is that there are people that go to church 5-6 days out of the week almost and struggle with that one thing and wondering why life, they ain't having the forward progression that they actually need. She said, baby, you got to get your heart right. You got to get that heart right. She said, Shawn, being unforgiven ain't worth it at the end of the day. She said, it's just not even worth it to me. She said, it's just not even worth it. And she said, everybody deserves mercy. She said, everybody, even the people that we think they don't deserve mercy, they deserve mercy. She said, Shawn, just don't be like them. Be different on purpose, son. Create your own path. Have a different perspective. When your perspective is different, Shawn, you are definitely not going, 90% of people you will never be for, because y'all don't even think the same. Y'all heart don't even beat the same. Y'all mental rhythm is not even in the same sequence. The vibe it doesn't gel. But when you get your perspective to not live a life where you're sitting high, where there's only one person that sits high and looks low, and you're not looking constantly down on people all the time, as if you're perfect, that you've never done anything wrong, Shawn, do not be like them. Do not be like them. I don't care how many times you mess up. I don't care what they say about you. I don't care how much you misunderstood or judged or whatever. You don't have to be like them. Choose to be different on purpose. She said, Shawn, when you choose to be different on purpose, it's a lonely road. She said, you know how many people are on that broad road of forgiveness? It's saturated. It's flooded. And the road is so big, and there's billions of people that's on that road of being unforgiving. Do you know how many people is on that narrow road of true forgiveness? And Shawn, they're going to give you every excuse of why. She said, Shawn, never argue, never debate, never go back and forth on why you should forgive with somebody else. Don't go back and forth, Shawn. That's a losing battle. Shawn, you lose the battle with ignorance, because ignorance have no understanding of true comprehension. of common sense. Let me repeat that. She said, Shawn, ignorance has no true comprehension of basic common sense. It's a battle that's just going to stress you out at the end of the day because they cannot comprehend common sense. They're going to argue you down because they want to be right. She said, there's going to come a point in your life, Shawn, that being right has to be unimportant. Being right has to have no relevance. Because if you choose to live a life of that you have to be right all the time, you're going to lose a lot in this life. Because you just want to be right. Everybody wrong, you right. She says, Shawn, let them choose the path of least resistance. You choose the hard path on purpose. Because there's nothing good that's going to come from easy. She says, Shawn, it's easy to be unforgiving. It's simple. Just like it's easy not to work. Just like it's easy you see how you take care of your body, son? Just like it's easy for people not to take care of their body, for them to get off work and just go home and sit on the couch and eat whatever and channel search. And every year their body keeps depreciating. My mom told me when I was 30 years old, she said, Shawn, do me a favor. Son, I may be dead and gone. That thing that you love, that passion that you have for fitness, don't ever get tired of doing it. Because I remember when she was 30, I was 30. She said, when you get 50, you're going to see so many people that's probably going to be looking unrecognizable, son. Because they chose the path of least resistance. Your body is going to surpass a lot of people, and you're going to look at them and you're going to be like, wow. So always choose the hard path. On the hard path, there are lessons. On the hard path, there are challenges to make you better. On the hard path, there's adversity to make you better. She says, Shawn, you may meet one or two people in your whole lifetime that's going to appreciate your mindset, that's going to appreciate your true forgiveness, that's going to appreciate you being non-judgmental. Maybe just one or two. And then you're going to meet people who take advantage of it. You're going to meet people who don't even see what's in front of them. Let them do and have basic all day long, son. But I want you to work on being forgiving. I want you to work on not being resentful. I want you to work on not being bitter. Because being unforgiving, being resentful, and being bitter, that consumes your heart every single day. And although people will not understand your mindset, you will get there one day. Because I was just looking at her. I was like, Mom, I don't know. She said, you'll get there one day. You're going to get there one day because you got a good heart. You'll get there one day. But it took to 50 years old for me to actually get there. But I got there. I got there. I got there. Don't judge you. You do what you want. This your decision. You support your decision. You do whatever it is that you got to do for you. But I'm not taking that. I'm not going to be on that broad path with you. I don't agree with that. And she said, Shawn, you're going to lose you're going to lose a lot of people, but it's because they don't take the time to understand simplistic logic. They will rather be wrong, thinking they're right, and being resentful and bitter and unforgiving. Think about what they can have just by being forgiving. Think about how better their life could be by not being resentful. Think about things that can change by not being bitter. When you're depressed, that means you're living in the past. When you're anxious, that means you're thinking about the future. And when you're truly at peace, you're living in the present. Let me repeat that. When you're depressed, you're living in the past. When you are anxious, you're constantly thinking about the future. But when you are truly at peace, you are living in the present. Some people may not believe that theory, but then again, I told you this is the no judgment zone. We are discussing topics with no judgments, so I don't have to debate with you. You can say what you say, and I just respect it. It's not a debatable podcast. It's not a going back and forth podcast. It's not an argumentative podcast. This podcast was created in the memory of my mother. This topic that I'm talking about, forgiveness, I'm talking about this because of her. So if you have a problem with forgiveness and you darn near in church every day, you got some major issues in your life that you really need to work on, for real. And if you got the audacity to ask that man for forgiveness and you being unforgiving, come on, man. Come on. You gotta make that make sense. Please make that make sense, because it doesn't make sense. My mom said, she said, I'm so glad that he is not like us. Can you imagine if he had that attitude like us, that just demeanor, just unforgiving like we were? We would have no hope. And I'm not going to debate and argue, about what y'all think on that thing, man. You got to live your life for you. You got to live your life. You have every right and freedom to think and say whatever you want to think and say. And I got every right not to listen to it or to judge you. If that's what you feel, I'm just going to give you the head nod, and that's about it. That doesn't mean I'm agreeing with you. That's the path that you are choosing every single day. I'm not going that path. I choose to be different in every single way that word means different. I don't want to think like everybody. I don't want to be unforgiving like everybody, bitter, resentful, moving funny. No, because if you call me and we can whatever, you need something, I got it, it's yours. It's my job. It's my duty to do that. Why am I moving? Why am I moving funny? Because you ain't perfect. I'm moving funny because you ain't perfect. I'm moving funny because you did something to hurt me. I'm sure I've done something to hurt you. That's the thing that kills me with people. They act so funny with you, and they have actually done things to hurt you and don't even care about it. That's why I don't entertain that unforgiving thing, that bitter and resentful thing. Like, no, I ain't getting in that, man. You done stuff to me too, bro. You done stuff to me, sis. I mean, if we gonna be real, let's be real about it. Come on now. But we don't want to have these uncomfortable conversations. We don't want to have these conversations on basic common sense and logic, because we are too fixated on wanting to be right all the time. And we constantly loud and wrong. And these are things that you really need to think about. I don't want my son and daughter having that unforgiving attitude. I don't want my son and daughter walking around being resentful and bitter. I don't want my son and daughter to put people on a pedestal like they walk on water, like they're never going to make a mistake. I don't want my son and daughter don't have no sense of what loyalty truly means. I don't want them having like that, man. My thing is, I want them to be different. I mean, that society stuff. I don't want that embedded in them kids. No, man. That's the wrong path to take. Society is lost, and society gets more lost every single day. And if you think society is going to get better, you are highly delusional and you are fooling yourself. It's going to get worse. Simple and plain, it's gonna get worse. That's why it's so important to train your mindset daily. It's more important to train your mind than it is to train your body, but you want to be strong in mind and strong in body as well. But never sleep on your mindset, man. Like I say, man, things can happen in life and you act like it don't matter, but you have to sleep with. Let me tell you something about your mind. Your mind, you got to sleep with it at night. Your mind's going to keep you up some nights. Them thoughts are going to be in your head. See, here's the thing about thoughts. They creep in, they creep out, they creep in, they creep out, they creep in, they creep out, they creep in, they creep out. They take some time off. They go on vacation. The thoughts go on hiatus, but they come all the way back to that mind. You can't escape. It don't matter what you move. It don't matter what you do to your body. It don't matter what new clothes you get. It don't matter what new car, new house, new people in your life. It don't matter. That mind is right in between your shoulders, and it is not going nowhere. And you can never, ever escape it. You can't. Y'all do what you want to do. Y'all think how you want to think. You feel how you want to feel. It is not my business to judge you. It's not my business to ridicule you, belittle you. You have every right to have your opinions and your thoughts. You have every right. But I'm not going to do the going back and forth with you on it. When I know, when it comes to that forgiveness thing, I know that majority of us do it wrong. And majority of us really don't have the true meaning or the true wherewithal. We really don't know what true forgiveness is. We think we know, but we really don't. If we knew what true forgiveness really was, our whole attitudes, demeanor, personas, they would be different. If we truly knew what true forgiveness really was. If you want to have anything successful in this life, you have to learn to manage your expectations. You have to live in a world of reality and not fantasy. You have to call things like they are. But to live in a fantasy world without managing your expectations, if you don't learn to manage your expectations, you're going to be constantly disappointed. I have expectations of myself, not others. I had to put them expectations to bed with people. People going to do what they want to do. They're going to think how they want to think. They're going to act the way they want to act. And I've just gotten to the realization, I've just come to grips with it. That's just how it is. But just because they think like that, Shawn doesn't have to think like that. Just because they choose to have fake forgiveness, I don't have to choose to have fake forgiveness. Just because they choose to be resentful and bitter, I don't have to be resentful or bitter. Just because they move funny, I ain't got to move funny like them. So I'm so grateful and thankful that me and my mother, she really broke down the meaning of true forgiveness. And like I said, everybody's going to have their opinions and their thought process, and you're entitled to it. But I'm not going back and forth to do that with you because I know you cannot argue with ignorance. Wise men don't argue with ignorant people, man. Wise men don't debate with fools. You have to let a fool be a fool. Because if you argue with a fool, now you become a fool too. And I'm not arguing with ignorance, and I'm not arguing with you fools. I know you're dead wrong, but I can't make you see that. You have to see that. I can't make you see it. Because everybody got their definition of what they think forgiveness is. I've had so many discussions in the past where I don't feel this way. No, that's not true. I'm like, okay, all right. So you forgave that person, but you throw up in their face every single opportunity that you get. But you forgave them, right? Check this now. You forgave that person, but you throw up that dirt in their face every single time. So does this person have an opportunity for redemption, or do they not? They don't. They don't. Y'all want people, and y'all think people are supposed to be perfect. Perfection will never exist. You will never see perfection in this lifetime from no one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to give you that. I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you will never, ever have perfection with no one. It'll never happen. There's going to be always problems. There's going to be circumstances. There's going to be situations. There's going to be things that you can't control. There's going to be things that is going to happen. It is called life, people. So if you have unrealistic expectations, you're going to be highly disappointed. A lot. Capital A, capital L, capital O, capital T, exclamation point. You're going to be highly disappointed a lot because you have not yet learned to manage your expectations. You must understand that in order for redemption to take place, true forgiveness has to happen. How you want someone to change when you don't give them true forgiveness? When my mom said that, it was like there was something just stirred up in me. She said, Shawn, how do you want people to change if you don't give them true forgiveness? You don't even give them an opportunity for redemption, son. She said, but let's go back on your life. I mean, since you're so unforgiving, since you're so bitter and resentful, let's go back on your life, Shawn. Have you ever hurt anybody, Shawn? Have you lied to anybody, manipulated, played somebody, deceived, cheated, toyed with somebody's feelings, woken up things in a person and you really didn't have no true intention of anything legit? Have you ever done that, Shawn? Have you ever physically hurt somebody, Shawn? Have you ever mentally hurt somebody, Shawn? Have you psychologically hurt somebody, Shawn? But you're going to walk around here and be unforgiving. She said, Shawn, all those things I just named, somebody has done one of those things to somebody and have the nerve and audacity to walk around being unforgiving. So when she gut checked me on my BS, I couldn't refute it. I couldn't even rebuttal what she was saying. My hands was tied. And all I could do, the next thing came out my mouth, I'm like, Mom, you're right. I got nothing. And that was the turning point at 30 years old. I said to myself, I will no longer have that type of attitude. Never did again. Never did again. Every time something happened and I thought about being unforgiving, I would always think about my mess that I've done in my past. I would always gut check myself and say, Shawn, where are you perfect at? Where are you perfect at? Shawn, have you done everything in your life right? Have you always made the best decisions and choices? See, that rules out me being unforgiving. That rules out me not being apologetic. That rules out me not giving nobody the chance for redemption because I'm perfectly imperfect. How many people honestly do that in their own individual lives, but then they have a whole attitude and there are people who are still talking about things that happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. They still holding on to that mess and wondering why they are not getting any forward progression in their life, especially in certain areas that they crave forward progression. They will never get it because they refuse to change those things. You can't live life like that, man. How you living life unforgiving and talking about you got peace and you ain't got no peace? No, you don't. If you're unforgiving, you still living in the past, bro. If you're unforgiving, sorry, you still living in the past, sis. You ain't got no peace. You're pretending that things are hunky-dory and stuff like that. No, because your moves are based off what has happened to you. Your moves are based off what's happened to you. Mm-hmm. You act different based off what's happened to you. You treat people different based off what has happened to you. You change your whole heart based off what's happened to you. So when I try to go there and try to get to that place, I always come back to that conversation that I had with Gwen at 30 years old. And that conversation that I had at 30 years old, when I want to feel like to be unforgiving and resentful and bitter and to move different and act funny and just cut people off, blah, 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 blah. That whole conversation that I had with her 20 years ago takes me right back to center. And it puts things right back in perspective for me. If you're struggling with forgiveness, man, you need to truly, truly work on that thing. And understand and learn what true forgiveness truly means. And she used to kill me with this one, man. And I she say, Shawn, she said the biggest one. She said, this is the biggest. I forgive, but I don't forget. She said, you know how ignorant that sounds? You forgive, but you don't forget. You forever stuck in the past, then, bro, sis. If that's your motto. She said, Shawn, it's the dumbest thing ever. She said, she said, Shawn, there are billions of people that live by that code. They talk about they got their peace. No, you don't. You don't forget nothing. So why you got peace? You don't forget nothing. You change all your moves based off what has happened to you. And you hold on to that stuff. It's a sad way to be, man. And you are never going to get to the next level in your life of what true peace and happiness could be because you're still holding on to resentment, unforgiveness, and bitterness. You still holding on to you was right and everybody else was wrong. And you still think in your mind, you really have the, see, she said, Shawn, you got to think of it. And she said, Shawn, here's the thing. She said, they will actually think and actually say, no, I don't think like that. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Look how you move, though. You don't think like that? You ain't holding on to that? But why do you struggle with it? Why do you struggle with forgiveness then? I mean, if you don't move like that. You had the opportunity to save and salvage something and you chose not to because you wanted to be in that place of bitterness. You wanted to be in that place of anger, resentment, unforgiveness. So you can't say that's not true when your actions is showing different. I hear what you're saying, but your actions is contradictory. It's conflicting with what comes out your mouth. She said, baby, when you are perfect, you got every right to judge anybody that you want to. She said, Shawn, that ain't never going to happen. It's never going to happen for none of us. She said, theoretically speaking, son, nobody has the right to judge nobody. She said, but Shawn, the irony is majority of the world judge each other every day. All day long, 24/7, 365 days a year, every second on the minute, every minute on the hour. Constantly. Constantly. She says some people are never going to get what they want in their life because they truly choose. They rather have unforgiveness in their life than anything else. They rather hold on to the resentment they rather hold on to the bitterness. And she said, Shawn, and she said, here's the thing. People say, oh, I forgive you. Your whole demeanor and persona and aura toward me is totally different. No, you don't. You don't forgive me. Because if you did, none of that would be into play. She said, Shawn, people are so sad. She said, but son, I'm telling you, you do not want to be that way. That's a sad way to live your life. Remember what I said, people. If you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're constantly thinking about the future. And if you're truly at peace, you are present and you're living in the present. Everybody think that they're living in the present. They really ain't present. They're really not. And she said, Shawn, that's sad. She said, what's sad is people can't even be true to themselves. They can't even be woman enough or man enough to gut check themselves. See, when you can admit how you truly are on the inside, that's the only way that true change can take place. She said, Shawn, there's a lot of fake change out there. There's a lot of facades out there. There's a lot of fugazi people out there. She said, son, watch when things go happen. She said, Shawn, you want to know about people? Watch when things go wrong. Who people are is when things go wrong, when things go left, when things get turned outside, when it goes sideways, when things get upside down. Now you see who people really are. That's the real them. No, you can't tell when everything's good, Shawn, when everything's smooth, when the water's calm, when the sun is shining, there's beautiful rainbows in the sky. No, you can't tell who people are. But when things get upside down and go sideways and left, you're going to see who they really are. You're going to see how forgiving or unforgiving they really are. You're going to see how resentful and how bitter they really are, how they harbor things, how they throw up things in your face because they just love it. You see it. Now you know what you got. And you have nothing. Because true forgiveness doesn't do none of those things. And it don't throw up things constantly in your face in a heated argument, anger, or whatever the case may be. They had a bad dream and they throw it up. Whatever excuse they want to give themselves. So if you're struggling with forgiveness, I suggest you work on that every day. But that's it, man. Listen, great income tax special that we're still running. Okay. We got 4 more days of it. You can take advantage of it. You can just call me 904-403-6991. You reach me on Facebook, Instagram at Driven Not Motivated 21. To all the places that I'm streaming right now, FIMP, my private group that's in memory of a mom. It's titled FIMP, and the abbreviations mean for imperfect, non-judgmental people only. Gwen's Boy Mindset, my YouTube channel, my personal Facebook page. I'm going to share this on different outlets if I can, if I don't forget tonight. So, but anyway, man, huge income tax special, man. So take advantage of it. It's running. It's posted it's on all the social media outlets. You know, you got 2 different ones. So listen, I hope somebody got something out of that. And if you didn't, I mean, you are entitled. Again, you're entitled to think how you want to think. I'm not going to be cross with you on nothing, and I'm not arguing or debating or going back and forth with you on that. You are entitled. to think what you think when it comes to forgiveness. And if you choose to be unforgiving and resentful and bitter and, I forgive you, but don't F with you and all that other stuff that, you think that's true forgiveness, by all means, you have to live with that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But that's not true forgiveness. It's just not. But like I always say, man, I'll start judging people once I'm perfect too. I love this because it fits right in. And I say that at the end of every segment. I'll start judging people because I got that from my mother. I'll start judging people once I'm perfect too. I'll start judging people once I'm perfect too. But since I'm in no danger of ever in this lifetime being perfect, you will never have to worry about Shawn Patrick Taylor ever judging you. That's on my mama, my son, my aunt, my uncle. That's on my life. You will never have to worry about me ever judging you. See, once I become perfect, then I'll start judging too. But since that mystical, magical, majestical day is never going to happen, since I'm in no danger of ever becoming perfect, you will never, ever have to worry about me ever judging you, period. Because I have no place. I got enough common sense to know that I have no place, no right to judge anybody unless I am perfect. And a lot of y'all need to understand you ain't got no right to judge nobody either. Because I ain't, all the people I know, everybody, none of y'all ain't perfect. I know it. I know you're not. Far from it. Ain't even excellent. But you're out there having all this stuff going on. But I digress, man. Listen, man, y'all take care of yourself, man. Be safe out there, man. And work on that forgiveness, man. You selling yourself short. You're sabotaging the good things that you could have. Work on that every day. I'll catch you guys on the flip, man. Thanks to people who tune in and support. Again, I'll catch you guys on the flip. Peace.